Big exciting news for your Friday morning as the president confirms overnight what I said to you yesterday by intuition. He says there's a deal. He says there's a deal, but a certain someone won't sign on the dotted line. So when will she sign on the dotted line? What about that guy in the Senate? How soon could we have our second stimulus checks? This is incredible, great news. And this is breaking news for a Friday morning on Mornings LALATE. Hey, good morning, everybody. This is incredible, great news to start your Friday morning on Mornings LALATE. I really appreciate you for tuning in. This is breaking details you're only going to hear this morning on Mornings LALATE. It's stuff that has surfaced even since early morning's broadcast at 3 a.m. Pacific Standard Time today. I thank you for joining me on a great day. The toast is toasting, the butter's buttering, the coffee's brewing. I'm here, you're here, and your dog, your alpaca, your lava, your ferret, and apparently your parrot. Ferret and a parrot. I think it's a new Saturday morning cartoon. Go to the Fun's channel, subscribe because we're going to get through this together in a day in which there's going to be incredible great news. I just sense it, but we're already starting out great to start this morning. Also, like this video. We're trying to approach 300,000 subscribers. Let's get there. We're at 292, 293. We're doing really well. And this morning, really great news. The breaking news, the details that I'll be going over in this broadcast are those incredible remarks by President Donald Trump overnight about your stimulus, the deal items, the deal timeline, what's going on and when it can be formulated, and how about that other guy out there? And how about that other woman? Oh, yeah, you know who they are. What's their names? Yeah, them. Incredible, great news all across the board. A second economic data this morning. My goodness. Jeez, did you see the economic data this morning? Retail sales through the roof, categorically bombshell, incredible numbers, really good numbers. Car sales through the roof. Pfizer, next item I'll be going over. Pfizer, 2 weeks from now, you could see a potential vaccine. Oh my goodness. And finally, remdesivir, which I'm sure I'm going to mispronounce all morning long. Remdesivir is getting slammed by one major medical organization this morning, saying it does much of nothing. Lord. So let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news as you start a Friday morning is categorically incredible. One personal note before I get to the breaking news is the following. I really appreciate you for making early mornings LALATE a big hit. But there's a but to it. The but is, please tune into this video because it looks like it seems in the last 2 days that early mornings has gone through the roof, and this show is slowly pulling back because I think some of you are watching early mornings and then not watching this because you got your early morning fix early on, and then you're coming back on at 28 midday. So stay with this because this actually is a more comprehensive recording, clearly because it's 20 minutes in length, where early mornings is a shorter broadcast. So please, let's get this broadcast back to its 100,000 plus views like it does on a normal basis. All right, let me get to the breaking news. The breaking news is President said the deal's ready to be signed. He's ready to sign it, and he's going to get everyone to approve it, but there's one person who's holding it up. These remarks came last night in an NBC town hall conference, debate, meeting, whatever you call it, with Savannah Guthrie, in which the president was asked about stimulus. And her questions were very good to the president. He answered, then she followed up. He answered, then she pushed a little further. She asked basically the questions you and I would ask because she was not content with his answers until she got a complete, robust answer. The totality of the responses were the following. One, the president is going big on his numbers. We are somewhere at about 1.85, I think we're at now. It's clearly higher than 1.8. Second, he's going to go higher. I told you that yesterday. I told you he's going to go to 2. He said he'll go higher. He said there's no limit on how high he wants to go. He wants to keep on going higher. He said it's no fault to you that this pandemic hit. He ensures that a lot of money wants to go to you because ultimately it filters through the economy and it comes back out. Just the words of Jerome Powell. The more stimulus, the better. Third, he said he's ready to sign the deal right today. He's ready to send the money out right today. Fourth, he said there's one person who's holding up the whole situation, and it's Nancy Pelosi. He said America now understands Nancy Pelosi's holding up the situation. That's why there's no pen to paper. Fifth, he says that she does not want to put pen to paper until the day after the election. And then, in his words, when I win on election day, she'll sign the deal the next day. 6, he says that the Senate Republicans would do anything he says that he wants them to do. As soon as he has a deal with Nancy Pelosi, he says the Republicans in the Senate, Mitch McConnell, will categorically pass the bill because they are his party. He's the leader of the Republican Party, and they will pass exactly what he asked them to pass. But he says, I'm not going to ask them until Nancy Pelosi gives me a signature. Now, what's really incredible about this is that, you ask me my opinion sometimes. Sometimes I don't want to say them. Sometimes I don't want to say my intuitions because it's not facts. It's just opinion. And boy, everything he said was exactly what I said in my opinion yesterday. I said, one viewer said yesterday afternoons, LALATE, you look really happy lately. I get a sense you sense something else that's going on that you're not saying on camera, was the question or the comment, to which I responded, yes, I really do think the deal has been hatched, but they're not putting pen to paper because of other factors, aka the election. And I think that we really do have a deal. They're just not acting. They just don't want to sign the paperwork. It's like a contract. It's like, okay, we have a deal. Let's sign the contract. Then, we'll sign the contract next week. Oh, we'll sign the contract the week after. That's why I'm very happy with the situation currently. And ironically, that's exactly what the president said overnight. He said that we have a deal, she's not willing to sign it, and that she won't sign it until the day after the election. Now, it's incredibly great news, which I'm going to cover more on 28 at 12 noon, is this issue of Trump now promising if he gets reelected, he says that Nancy Pelosi is basically going to sign the stimulus deal the day after the election, after results are announced, and that you'll have a stimulus package approved the day after the election. Is this a campaign pitch? Is this a pitch to get him elected? Or is he actually correct? I think he's correct. If he is elected, she will sign the deal. If he's not elected, she's not going to sign anything, is potentially the other response, which he's not saying to you. This is incredible great news. So how much money could you get? When could you get the money, and how would it work? Let me go over where we are today. If you did not catch yesterday's broadcast, which I assume you did catch them, I mean, there was just a few of them, we are now at a second stimulus offer, a higher offer raise or higher bid offer in just 48 hours. Where we are currently is bigger stimulus checks, bigger FPUC, longer FPUC, bigger deal provisions across the board, and easier language to get this deal done. All right, let me go over the incredible details of your second stimulus package and checks. First, the checks. Bigger checks than we have had any time in recent weeks. $1,200 individuals, $2,400 married couples, and then all adults, $1,200. So no longer is an issue of whether you are a dependent on someone else's tax return or not a dependent. No longer is an issue of that you are on SSDI or SSI or Social Security or railroad benefits. It is simply a non-issue now. The issue is, how old are you? You don't have to tell me, shh, keep it secret. You look really young for your age. So long as you are an adult, I don't mean that you act like a child. So long as you are an adult, you're getting a full stimulus check. Look at me and let's say this back to each other. I don't care if you're on SSDI or SSI. I don't care if you act like a child, you're a grown adult. So long as you're an adult, you could act as infantile as you wish, and you could be Speaker of the House. You're going to get a $1,200 stimulus check. Now, of course, if you make too much money, like Nancy Pelosi, you're not getting a stimulus check. $1,200. This is incredibly great news because for the first time, my viewers who did not get a first stimulus check because they were adult dependents on someone else's tax return are now getting a stimulus check, and it's a full stimulus check. It's bigger, it's bolder, it's more generous. This is all incredible, great news, finally. Next, my children, literally my children, not my, not my children, the children of America. Children going hungry. Well, they're not going hungry. $1,000. Oh my goodness, $1,000. This is a bigger stimulus check. This is the biggest stimulus check ever offered to children during this entire childish negotiations. $1,000. So now we're more generous on the children as well. Mother, single mom, 3 kids, $1,200, 111. Husband and wife, 2 kids, $1,200, 11. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. Not taken out for child support, not taken out for taxes, not taken out for debt collections. Would be in your hands about 10 days after it becomes a law if you sign up for electronic payments for anything like SSDI, SSI, Social Security, Railroad benefits. Incredible, great news. Absolutely incredible. FPUC, enhanced unemployment benefits that goes on top of your UI and PUA. More weeks, bigger and bolder and more beautiful. Absolutely incredible. So FPUC would go to mid-January. This is incredible, great news, giving you more weeks of FPUC, more weeks, $400 a week. Incredible. The things that would be better is if it went back further into mid-January. Yeah, January this year. I love that. I meant late June, sorry. Late July. Lord, let's try it again. Late July. That is really where FPUC should go. But instead of going back retroactively to late July when FPUC 1.0 expired, is going to mid-September. All incredible, great news. The remainder of the deal provisions are also really good. Testing, tracing, vaccine, and healthcare providers raised overnight. It was raised on Thursday midday, and Mnuchin told us in Thursday morning he was going higher. We are somewhere around 185, I think, is where we're at. We're not being given a total number, but I'm telling you, the president's going to go to 2. He's absolutely going to go to 2. State and local, $300 billion. State and local, this is important because I didn't say it a lot yesterday. State and local, the $300 billion will predominantly go to fire, health, frontline workers, and any public civil servants or frontline workers that work for state, cities, or counties. It's going to your salary, Steve Mnuchin says, so that 1, you're not fired, 2, you're given frontline worker pay, 3, you're given basically a version of hazard pay. So this is incredible, great news. Next, there is a hazard pay-ish provision in there. It's a grant. It gives you CDC grant money if you worked as a frontline worker. It's in addition to what I just talked about. Next, there's EIDL grants for my solos, my independent contractors, my Uber, Lyft drivers, Grubhub drivers, Airbnb operators, grants. I'm going to be getting you all these grants and showing you where to get them and how to get them once this becomes law. Liability protection for businesses, $20 billion for airlines, PPP, $330 billion. So this is important if you are working for a business owner who's a small business owner. You would get this PPP salary. You'll get your salary. You won't be laid off. Childcare, $25 billion. Food assistance, $15 billion. Student loan forgiveness, $25 billion. So if you're a student and you have loan debt forgiveness, all incredible, great news. So with that incredible great news also came insanely great economic news this morning, and it absolutely impacts your second stimulus checks across the board. The economic news came in a different swarm of information and news breaks this morning. First, retail sales. Massive numbers on retail sales. These are consumers spending in the month of September. What were the numbers? Well, it absolutely blew away Wall Street's estimates. They were expecting retail sales to rise 0.7% in the month of September. 0.7. How high did they rise? 1.9%. This is insane. Excluding autos, the gain amounted to 1.5%, which is higher than what they even estimated at 0.4. I mean, it's not even triple, it's almost quadruple the amount. So which areas led? Clothing and accessories were on the rise, about 11%. Sporting goods and books, 5.7%. Electronics and appliances fell, so they were down. But clothing and accessories went through the roof. How big is this number? Economists now think that the third quarter growth, which will be announced at the end of this month, could represent a 35.2% increase, which, if true, would be the highest double growth, single quarter growth since recorded history of 1947. The big other issue is personal savings. Personal savings remained flat, but then came auto sales. Auto sales? Yes. Motor vehicle sales were up 3.6% for new motor vehicles, but used cars and trucks, perhaps referring to people working in the pandemic, central frontline workers, rose 6.9%, the single largest monthly rise in used car sales since 1969. This data is just all over the place. Next, incredible great news about Pfizer. In 2 weeks from now, you could see a coronavirus vaccine for emergency authorization use, EOU. Pfizer will announce in 2 weeks the results of its current studies and on this current stage for COVID-19 testing of its vaccine. Remember, this is a vaccine, it's not a therapeutic. And it will be announced in about 2 weeks. It will be announced after the election, it is believed, and that this announcement will tell you if their results do work, if they actually have a COVID-19 vaccine that then is approved for emergency use authorization immediately. What that means is that you yourself will not have access to it unless it's an emergency, you're at end of life, you're about to die. Otherwise, the vast majority of the population wouldn't see it in circulation until next year. But this is incredibly great news. In 2 weeks, we will find out whether America finally has a vaccine for COVID-19. Then comes therapeutic. Therapeutic is not something that prevents you from getting the disease, but prevents you from dying once you have the disease, and that's remdesivir, which the president took. A new report out of the World Health Organization today says that remdesivir, along with 3 other potential drug treatments for coronavirus, has little or no effect. No study drug definitively reduced mortality, initiation or ventilation, or hospitalization duration. The head of remdesivir fired back and disputed the findings. Really interesting. If you did not realize, I saw it yesterday, the very first week of this channel, I recorded a video on remdesivir. I totally forgot about it. It was just the day in which they first announced remdesivir, which had been in development far before COVID-19. They didn't realize that it would work for COVID-19. So as we start the new morning, boy, there's incredible great news across the board. We have a higher deal offer. We have more checks. We have the renewed optimism. We have the push to the finish line. What should you be doing today? Well, what I want you to be doing is, first, I want you to be pushing these videos, especially this video. You need to get this video to 100,000 views. You need to be tagging Mnuchin, Meadows, Trump, and then you need to be tagging the 2 campaign officials. Remember the one that's a campaign chairman for Donald Trump, and you have to also tag the, I think his name is Jason Miller, who's senior advisor to the White House, because those are smaller Twitter handles. They will see it. Yesterday, there was a Twitter outage across worldwide. So that caused a lot of erosion in the efforts of the Purple Power. We need to ramp up and ramp up even stronger with sharing this video, getting the views up, tagging politicians with this video, say, hey, get on it. Purple Power focuses this morning are the following. First, executive orders. Let's not stop. Executive orders absolutely need to push the president to say, hey, you've now admitted that Nancy's not going to give us anything before the election. Send out stimulus checks. Do FPUC. Do those 2 things right now, because we can't wait to November, Mr. President. Ultimately, he did not explain to Samantha Guthrie what his plot was or plan was to get Nancy to sign between now and the election. He says she's not going to sign between now and the election. Well, I don't think that's sufficient of an answer to us, the American people. The answer is Executive orders, purple power, do your thing. Next, seats for stimulus. You didn't make very clear to your elected senators and House representatives, we're not going to play this game that Nancy Pelosi's doing. You're gone. We're not voting for any incumbent. You're all gone because you didn't give us stimulus. You need to get that message out now. Finally, you need to really push with the White House and Mnuchin because you've been doing an incredible job. Every time the Mnuchin goes up, he's going up because of you. Every time he's doing things like saying, I'm not going to argue over the language of the bill, he's doing it because of you. So you need to continue to push and say, get the deal done. Let me answer some of your incredible 1,700 questions from yesterday. Karen, okay, money sitting around is not helping the American people. Sojourner, winter's coming. Linda, Nancy definitely needs to be replaced. Angela, Pelosi won't agree when Trump wins because she'll be so mad. I don't think that's the case. Let me respond back though to Soul Journey's comment about winter coming. What I forgot to mention was the economic data talked about its concern that this economic data is very strong in August and September, but may turn totally different in the fall if there's another massive wave that causes lockdowns. Karen, day after the elections, we'll all be homeless. Carlos Pena, even if we get it before the election, Nancy needs to be replaced. Zach, billions of dollars sitting around for months, and yet millions of Americans have empty pockets. Trisha, the American people are suffering. We need stimulus right now. We need PPP for small businesses and moms so that everyone can survive. Susan Williams, LA, who cares how we get it? Let's just get it there before it even gets worse. Amen. Thank you for your comments, Susan Williams. To Coney, let's get this money out. Sherry Clark, people are laying around in coffins while money's laying around in Congress. Oh my goodness. Rose Rail, this is getting crazy. Carol Jones, this is absolutely absurd. The money is there and people are homeless, unemployed, and hungry. And they sit there while the money's sitting around. They could be helping the American people. This is downright evil. Karen Thomas, please, California, sending Nancy packing out of her Congress seat. She's been hurting all of America. She needs to go. Candace, if Trump loses, he will not sign. Why would he need to do his order? This is why he needs to do his executive order now. Alan Waters, people can't wait 3 more weeks. Under those messages, executive orders right now. Go to the front of the channel, subscribe because we're going to get through this together, and we absolutely need to say a message, need to share these videos, need to get the message out, need to get the subscribers up, need to tag your politicians and say, hey, get this done. We all understand the problem now. You need to apply the pressure because now everyone understands the situation. The narrative is very clear. It's the pressure that needs to be applied. Also like this video. Coming up next is 28 at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time with the latest developments and the latest twists and turns since this morning's broadcast. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay at LA.